For those who are here or waiting for people to join, if you think of a question that you would like us to address, that'd be good to consider and maybe add it to the chat, or you can tell us. So that way we can try and address any questions that you guys might have. So maybe we should start off with some intros. Like if you would like to say where you're from, and if your microphone doesn't work, you can put it into the chat and one of us will read it. And then maybe if you have any questions that you'd like us to address, feel free to share those either when you share where you're from, or you can put it into the chat.
I'll go ahead and start since I popped on camera real quick. My name is Paula Bliss, and I volunteer at the Oxford Pregnancy Center. And I just recently started looking into things to become a mentor for their moms program.
My name is Cheryl. I am a resource coordinator at True Care Women's Resource Center in Casper, Wyoming. So I help patients with any resources they might need for their pregnancy, like signing up for Medicaid or housing or WIC or all the things.
Awesome.
I'm Linda, and I'm from Missouri, and I actually help with the H3 helpline. So I don't answer the phone as much as I used to, but I do a lot of the follow-up work, calling, emailing, and calling callers.
Cool. Yeah. We I really like the H3 group and Terry and her husband Gary, I believe. Yeah. Good people. All right. Well, I think we should probably go ahead and get started. And people can keep rolling in. We are recording, so we can publish this later. I do want to say, for those who have not been in the previous webinars, if you go to proliferibbon.com and click on partner under abortion pill talk, on this page, there's a sign-up form where you can fill out this form, and then we'll send you an email with a list of all the previous webinars. Essentially, there's a state leader, and she suggested that we, maybe not make all these webinars public, but provide them on a requested basis so that we limit who can see all of our strategic ideas as they're being formed and shared. And so, Sandy, do you want to get us started, or what were your thoughts on who would be at the MC today?
That's fine. I can get us started. I think you're going to be the MC today, though, Jacob.
Okay, that works.
So we should start off in prayer, though. Might be good.
Sure. Rachel, would you open us in prayer? Oh, get to unmute.
I would love to. That would be a blessing. All right, let's do that. Father God, we just praise you for this beautiful day. We thank you for this week, this week of how you walked that walk, how you walked into Jerusalem, and that beautiful Palm Sunday, and then how, as we walk through this week, we're going to be coming into this weekend and just remembering Good Friday and Resurrection Sunday. And so, Father, I just praise you and I thank you that you're with us and that you're here in all of these precious decisions. You're here as we are standing in the gap for the lost, Father, as we are wanting to catch them before they head to the slaughter. You know our hearts because our heart is your heart, Lord. So give us your strength, give us your wisdom, and give us your resolve to fight the good fight and to never give up, Father. So I praise you again for these beautiful men and women who want to stand in the gap. And again, we praise you for your joy. We praise you for your strength to keep up the good fight. In Jesus' precious name, amen.
Amen.
Rachel.
So thank you. So today, our main point with this webinar was to walk through, how someone can sign up, as well as if there's any questions we'd like to address, any questions that you might have, or any thoughts, any concerns. And if we don't have the answer, we'll get back to you. but if we do have the answer, we'll be glad to address them right away here in this webinar. So let me go ahead and start with this main concept. So if you go to the Abortion Pill Talk page on Pro-Life Ribbon, which is a 501c3 nonprofit, there's a sign up button on the Abortion Pill Talk page. And if you click on sign up, it goes to a Google form where there's a link to the PDF that essentially is like the member agreement. And so you can essentially see the member agreement. And this was not written with AI. This was written by us, and it's not very long. But yeah, I would encourage you to read all of it because it's meant to try and explain sort of like the expectation of joining as a member. Actually, I guess we could read through that here in this webinar. That actually might be fruitful. So let me go ahead and do that. So this agreement is for an organization to join APT, Abortion Pill Talk. This agreement is between the Pregnancy Organization and Pro-Life Ribbon. The price is $400 per month for those who agree to join APT in 2025. Annual price increases, the price will go up by 2.5% per year. The reason why this is in here saying $400 for those who join this year is we're looking at having a larger price in future years, but those who join this year will be grandfathered in at this rate. But there will be a 2.5% increase each year based on the cost of living adjustment to cover inflation. And then this is for religious pregnancy help organizations only, meaning that we want your leadership to agree with the following statement that Jesus is God come in the flesh. Or if they, really could say or they agree with the Apostles' Creed, which is another way of saying that with many more words. The backstory on Pro-Life Ribbon and IRP.com. Pro-Life Ribbon is a shell organization, like a turtle shell, that allows us to have religious freedom and be under the protection of the pro-life Texas Attorney General. And IRP.com is a working vendor managing the work and coordinating with partners on this project, like, for example, Connie Ambrecht and Rachel with Infinite Worth. And essentially being under the Texas Attorney General is a major part of our strategy for protecting ourselves from the AG of California, the AG of Washington, the AG of New York, mostly those AGs, I guess, but other pro-choice, pro-abortion AGs as well. So they essentially will have to make them go up an uphill battle by going through the Texas AG. That's our thought on that. And then the backstory on Abortion Pill Talk. APT is a national collaborative multi-clinic advertising campaign. And we've gone over this part in the other webinars. So if you weren't a part of those, if you asked for a copy of those previous webinars, there's over 3 hours of webinar footage with us going through lots of details and angles and layers. And this,
right? I have to go through now and go through the HIPAA section.
Sorry, let me see if I can mute. Sorry. There we go. I think that might have been it, hopefully.
I got it.
Okay, cool. And essentially, the goal is to, as a group of pregnancy clinics, medical pregnancy clinics and non-medical pregnancy centers as a group to help intercept people before they take the medical chemical abortion pill, and to reach them during that window when they're doing research on Google, whether they have the pill in hand or the pill is in the mail en route to their house. The goal is to reach them during that window of time, which might be hours and might be days, but might only be hours. And then defining terms. Body of law. We place ourselves in this work under the state defined in our body of law clause. The address of Pro-Life Ribbon is in Texas. Our body of law is under Texas. The national campaign is being run from under the law of the state of Texas. And this was based on advice from NIFLA that we are aiming to be under the body of law of Texas. Or Angie, at least, with NIFLA. Body of law. The national advertising campaign will take place under the body of law under the state of Texas. A bit redundant, but I learned that defining terms was an important step that I hadn't done in a previous agreement, so a little bit overlap. And then agreement length. This agreement is month to month, so someone may cancel or stop at any time. We just ask for 30 days notice, so we have time to adjust things. And then to proceed, to agree to join the Abortion Pill Talk as a member organization, please click the link below and complete the following form that will echo the terms in this document. By completing this form, your org will be officially signed up. The first payment will start on the 1st of the month after the date signed up, meaning the 1st of May or 1st of June. And that's the agreement form. And then this is the actual form that someone fills out. But essentially, and this form will go through all of those clauses pretty much verbatim, because the goal was to try and make sure that everyone's on the same page when signing up. And that's the sign up process. We're not asking for any credit card info or banking info during this sign up process. Right now, we're just getting someone to say they want to be a member, and then we're going to work out that billing step after our after our next board meeting. We actually need to make some more decisions on how that's going to be processed. And that's how, and our goal is to get 21 members to sign up for us to launch with, but I believe we might launch with as few as 12 member organizations that sign up, but I think we'd be in better shape if we had 21 or more. So what questions might you be thinking, or what might be crossing your mind as you've been looking at Abortion Pill Talk? Or if you just want more information, we can always send you the webinar links, which will have several hours of footage of us going over a lot of these different layers. But I'll go ahead and stop talking so people can ask some questions.
Jacob, would it be okay if we review the website and what is kind of the process of that? Do you want to do that, or do you want me to?
Sure. Yeah, we can. So the website, as in what a client will see. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So
okay.
If a gal goes on and says, searches for Google and says, like, I need an abortion now. How do I get abortion pills? They're going to get, they're going to find Planned Parenthood, and they're going to talk about, that you can order it, you can pick them up at the pharmacy. They're going to give you all kinds of ideas on how to get that. And that's where we want to get to these girls, is at that point when they're thinking, oh my goodness, I need abortion pills. And so what we want to do is make this national campaign. So instead of them seeing Planned Parenthood, they're going to see Abortion Pill Talk. And Abortion Pill Talk's whole concept is to get them thinking. Get them thinking about what is the ramifications of abortion pill? What is my decision making? Who's the one giving me this? Where are they coming from? What's the risks? So that they will pause. And that's where we put the power, there's power in the pause, and that there's no regret, so that they don't take those and then regret it afterwards. We're very thankful for abortion pill reversal, but we need to reach them before they get to that point. So then what happens is, this is where Rachel comes in, and she can talk a little bit about that, but they've got the chat going on there. They also have, I believe we're discussing whether they're going to have the phone number or not, but the chat will definitely be there. So Rachel, do you want to talk to them a little bit about that?
Yeah. So one of the things that we're going to be doing is, as we partner with Abortion Pill Talk, we'll be having our nurse chat line on here. For those of you who don't know about the 24/7 Infinite Worth nurse chat line, is they are licensed nurses in each state that they're in. And so if we're answering chats in a certain state, we'll be licensed in that state. So these are nurses that have been trained. At this point, we've been doing this for 2 years now, so they've had 150,000 chats. These are ladies who are experts at educating to the reason why you would want to come to the center for an ultrasound before you take that abortion pill, before you have that abortion. Also, we're going to be going through Connie's 8 steps and learning, and we've already done some training. My team has actually developed their own process as far as which follows this, as far as that motivational interviewing and providing lots and lots of education in a way that is receivable, especially for this precious generation, right? They're very relationship orientated. They are also very authentic. And if there's anything in you that's not authentic, they sniff it out. And so this is a generation that it takes a little bit of, well, honestly, we just have to be honest with them. We have to tell them the truth. They deserve the truth, and they also demand the truth, and they demand that authenticity. So just motivational interviewing processes with them, asking them lots of questions about what's going on in their life, and really at bringing that education to them in a way that they can receive, right? The platform that we use is HopeSync, and it has lots of 2-minute videos in that really address, I don't know if you guys know this, but Gen Zs watch 6 hours of 2-minute videos every single day. That's actually how they get their information. That's how they get their news. That's how they actually get their education. That's how they learn. And so we have lots of those videos. One that's very popular is how to tell your parents, and that saved lots of lives. Or how to or the importance of having an ultrasound before you take the abortion pills, and those kinds of things. So there are lots of ways that we're going to be able to take this beautiful training that Connie has put together and infiltrate that with the nurses, but be there in the moment, right? She's on her phone. That young girl is actually Googling this at 2 or 3 in the morning when she can't sleep. I don't know about you guys, but when I've got something pressing in my heart, I don't sleep. I'm a woman. I don't sleep. I'm up Googling, how do I fix it? And that's what she's doing, right? That's what she's doing. So we need to be there for her 24/7. So that's what the nurse chat on this line is going to bring. And that's part of that cost that Jacob's talking about will be integrated in this. And we're excited to bring this. We love this concept. Our heart is huge on how do we meet her before she takes that pill, right? How do we reach her first? And that's our heart here. So and of course, one of the aspects that we have that I don't know if we've talked about this on here, Jacob, yet, but we have we'll hit this week, maybe closer to next week, but 500 locations that use our service. So we have this safety net across the country where if we can't get her into your center because she doesn't live in your area, we can hopefully get her into actually schedule her an appointment. So we have over 500 location pregnancy centers that we partnered with that we can actually schedule in their scheduler in the middle of the night. And so that's our hope to do that with you guys, is to schedule in your schedulers in the middle of the night. But if, let's say, she is at 2 hours from your center because she's been going, we can also find some place for her, which is, I know, all of our heart, right?
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, anything that I left out, Jacob, that you wanted me to talk about?
I think that was good. Someone asked the question of how do we sell this to our leadership teams, or how do I sell this to my leadership team? What's the elevator pitch? I'd like to. I was thinking if I only had 30 seconds, I would say, wow. So the hard part about this idea is that we're actually breaking ground in a few different areas. Like this is not just one new idea. It's actually got a few ideas weaved together. And so on the Abortion Pill Talk website, we have, oh, I just realized I was sharing my screen. Meanwhile, I was opening up my Calendly link. Sorry about that, guys. But yeah, so essentially on this website, we have several features. So for example, sharing resources. By having a shared campaign, we're able to share the resource of the Google Ads Manager, which makes it so that each member clinic is not having to pay someone typically $400 per month, or in that ballpark, maybe 200 to 600, depending on who you're working with, to manage your Google Ads account. But effectively, we have one Google Ads Manager managing this national multi-clinic campaign. And so there's cost savings weaved in. We also have data being collected as a group, and we're able to then share that in a presentable way that you can then share with your supporters. And so there's reporting and things to share with your supporters and donors to help encourage and ask for more funds. And essentially, I would say this is a joint effort with a very niche direction, which is to reach someone before they take the pill, and focusing on certain words. And then we also have some legal protection when it comes to players who are in Washington or New York. When it comes to people that are in places where the AGs just want to shut you down, by running this campaign out of Texas, we're essentially preventing that scenario from being as likely or being better protected. But all that to say is, I guess what I would say is we have webinar links that we go through a lot of these ideas in detail. And then lastly, if your board has questions, they could always schedule a meeting with someone, maybe myself or someone from this team, to go over go over any questions they may have. But watching the webinar videos might be the best way to really get someone to understand the depth of the ideas that are going on here. We just had another question come up: would this replace the subscription with Infinite Worth? And Rachel said no, which is true, because this is more of like a joint marketing campaign. This is not for your website. Your website has a unique set of goals and marketing. This is different than promoting your clinic. This is several clinics coming together for a single shared collaborative campaign. And this is in addition to the marketing you will be doing locally in your Tri-County area for people in the area. This is a way of reaching someone remotely and providing remote care as a group. So
I think too, the importance, this is what kind of like triggered my passion for this, is the pro-choice groups, Planned Parenthood. They have so much money that they're spending on Google and online. It's impossible individually to compete with that. I don't know of any pregnancy center that can. But together we're better. And I love the idea of bringing all the pregnancy centers together, having a pool of funds that's going in to really combat that, because I think that's the only way we're going to get I hate to use the word competitive edge on them, but I mean, that's basically what we have to do. We have to spend more money than them if we want to be able to rank higher and reach them first. And I've seen the state coalition groups do this, where they're pulling money together from multiple centers, and it's really effective. And it's definitely helped a whole lot to bring those vulnerable, abortion-minded women in to the centers. So I think it's going to be great.
I think one of the things too, to kind of piggyback off of that, is when you ask, how do I sell this to my leadership team, is just go to Google and put in, I need an abortion pill, because that's what the girls are going to do. And if you look there is nothing from a pro-life team. There's nothing that ranks there. And there's no way we can unless we join together and do this. The only way that we can reach on that type of scale is to be able to come together in something like this. And doing this is far bigger than one center or two centers. It's going to take us pulling together and being a team. And so, I've been asked, what does that do for my center? And what that does for your center is that you are part of a bigger picture. Now, we do have things that we will be doing for the centers so that they can present it to their board. So we will have reporting going on. Jacob, I forget the whole list you probably have on top of your head, but I know that we'll be doing reporting. There are some types of training that's going to be going on that depends upon what we end up ending at with this. But I forget what else is going on, but yeah.
And two,
Well,
there's also going to be grant opportunities to add to that pool of funds. So that's going to help us get our financial or funding capabilities on Google and everything even higher, which is going to be good and important. So I think to your donors, like statistics are really good. So maybe in the reports that we're giving, let's tell them how much money Planned Parenthood raised for their online marketing, and then where we're at. Can we, I know that was compelling to me. I moved to a house and got mail from Planned Parenthood from the previous person that lived there. I guess they were supporting them. And they had in there how much money they had raised and what their goal was. And I was just blown away. Those numbers really stand out. So I think that helps.
Yeah, and just to address, like you were saying, Sandy, about the state websites and when the coalitions to come together, Kelly, that is that's been super amazing. And we've had our nurse chat widget on several of those, and they have just been doing phenomenal. Like it's been amazing to do it on a state level, something like this on a state level, and to see it thrive again with pulling in lots of centers and doing a big pool has just been really awesome. And with huge abortion determined women coming on there who are very actively seeking the abortion pill. So we've seen great success. So I'm excited to see what we can do with this.
Yeah. And on that same topic with the coalition, so I have a pregnancy center that I helped launch in Louisiana, and I'm no longer there, but I help remotely. And I've noticed there's one problem with it. They're getting tons of leads, but they go into their email sometimes and they're not answered till the next day. So there's this lag of time and a missed opportunity. So I love the fact that we're able to use the Infinite Worth Nurse Chat line because we're getting instant replies to these women, which is very important. And most of the pregnancy centers just don't have the ability to answer these questions in the middle of the night and off hours. I mean, your volunteers have to sleep, your staff has to go home. So it works together to really make things work.
We're getting a lot of questions about how do I get a hold of the past webinars. I have put that link several times in the messaging. So if you go to the messages, that link will be there. If you have left your email, I will also make sure to email those that information to you as well.
Yeah, I'm actually I'm taking the emails in the chat and I'm getting the email ready right now.
Perfect.
It'll be out in a few moments here.
Yeah. Yeah.
And let's see, the other question was, can you give us an example of what the Google ads will say? We have not written these exact ads quite yet, but they will be they will be truthful, they will be compelling, and they will be on target for someone who is considering taking the abortion pill. We have we don't have them. We have not built out the actual ads that we'll be using quite yet. But that is something that we could provide essentially when we start, we'll be writing these ads as part of that process of starting. But we have standards when it comes to being truthful, when it comes to being accurate, not deceiving, not misleading, and Yeah, actually, we could talk a lot about some of those gray areas, but our
And-
goal
and
is to be reaching people at the right time with the right message, and then and also it's going to be neutral language. It won't sound like it won't be pregnancy center language. It's going to be neutral when it comes to that identity.
And that's what I was going to jump in and say was that it's going to be very neutral. So a lot of it will have to do with education type things of helping them understand what it's about and answering their questions. So a lot of those ads are going to be geared toward that type of. Is the fee of $400 per pregnancy center that signs up, or can it be shared within pregnancy centers in the same area?
Yeah, that's a good question. So the $400 is per organization. But I don't see why. Yeah, essentially, the $400 is going to help us spend 40% of the revenue collected on the Google ads, spending 10% on the training efforts, 10% on the Google ads management, 15% on the Infinite Worth SMS team, spending it's a small percent on social media design, a percent on website work, and there's one more category as well. And all that to say is, so that $400 per month is helping us create the budget to run the campaign. And I'm not sure how else to answer. I mean, I guess technically you could have a few clinics come together as one, and you could then share the report. But at the same time, the bigger the budget, the bigger the impact. So, like, for example, in the pay-per-click world, $1.60 is the current average cost per click to get a click from someone who's doing a search on the phrase abortion pill. And so if we have more money in that fund, we will get more clicks from people doing these searches, and it has direct correlation with getting more interactions, more people helped. And so my goal is to maximize the amount of money we're spending on Google to get more people into the system, so our team, like the Infinite Worth nurses, can field those SMS calls and chats from people who need help. And so, and then also our goal is also to try and, as Sandy alluded, we would love to be able to go after grant money to increase our engine, essentially increasing the size of the engine. So the question came in, so when they Google abortion pill, this option will come up so essentially when someone Googles the phrase abortion pill by mail, these different phrases, this will show up in that Google search result in the sponsored pay-per-click section, which is at the top of it's above the organic searches and then below the organic searches. And then based on our quality score, based on the amount we're bidding to spend, we will be somewhere in that range of, the placement is based on different variables. It's sort of like Google has a live auction. At every time there's the opportunity to show something, they have a live auction based on who's competing to show up. And so it's based on, the live auction will be very different in a highly populated area like Los Angeles, and it'll be very different in a lower populated area like a rural county, for example. And so who's competing, the demographics, there's a lot of variables in play. So like in some highly dense areas, there might be as many as 5 ads, 3 ads at the top, 2 ads at the bottom that may show up. And where we show up will be based off of our quality scores, based on our bid, and based on the competition, and based on their quality scores and their bids. And this may not only show up to patients. So anyone can do a search for abortion pill by mail. And so this might be the young woman who's a potential patient or client. It could be her boyfriend. It could be someone more nefarious. It could be a school nurse. It could be a teacher, a neighbor, a pastor, a friend. It could be, there's a lot of people within the sphere of influence that surround the patient that may also be doing a search as they're trying to help her understand, find answers before she takes that pill. So it may not be her. It will include her, but it could also be a grandma. It could be a cousin. It could be, there's going to be other people that do these searches on her behalf, and then word of mouth will be in play when it comes to communicating ideas and answers, because that's how people operate. Thank you, Holly, for praying. That is definitely part of our strategy, is to pray before, after, and during all of this work, because there's a lot going on, and it definitely invites spiritual attack, as we will eventually be making a big impact. And so as the impact is made, the attacks will probably correlate. And so prayer is absolutely critical. All right. Anyone else have thoughts or more questions? Did we skip any questions? I don't think we did, but. Oh, yeah. So Linda mentioned that Terry with H3 Helpline is involved. So we are working on building out a way to answer phone calls, meaning like with someone talking on the phone more so than chatting on the phone or SMSing. And so the H3 Helpline is going to be a part of our safety net when it comes to supporting people who will be calling into this hotline. Our preference is to support SMS first, and then supporting phone calls coming in is part of our greater plan. And the H3 Helpline is definitely part of that. And also giving the opportunity to anyone on your team who would like to field calls after going through the training to be able to be a part of the response for those who are responding to people reaching out for help. That's also part of this as well. And that's going to be really helpful to groups in rural, let's say less busy clinics, where if your team is not as busy as a more populated, busier clinic, working with us on fielding these phone calls or fielding chats and communication with people who need help is a way to get your team more involved in the work. So for those who get maybe, let's say you get 4 client visits a week, this would be a way to grow the number of interactions greatly by helping people remotely. It may not be more people in your doors, but it will be more people on the phone or in the system. And then your team would then be interacting using the scripting, using the training to interact via phone or remotely via the system. Because I feel like with some clinics, it's very rural, and the upside is that you get to maybe do some things that are different than the busier clinics. But it would be really nice to be able to have your team, for those who want to take on responding and helping people, this is an opportunity to bring in that traffic, regardless of where you're at. And in fact, the rural areas are almost ideal, because the busy clinics are already sort of like, they don't have capacity to take on more calls, more, to help more. But the clinics that have capacity is where this really shines, the ability to field and help remotely. All right. Well, I guess if you need a copy of the webinars, just add your email to the chat, or you can fill out that form on the website. And either way, we will get you a list of the previous webinars. And if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out and ask. If your board would like to have a conversation, I would love to meet with them and maybe try and field questions directly. Yeah, and it's okay for us to end early if we don't have any more questions to go over. But really, the point of this webinar was to encourage people who are considering this to sign up. Yeah, any final thoughts from anyone? Those on my team or from those who are attending?
I just wanted to say, Jacob and Sandy, thank you so much for your innovative hearts and for looking for solutions and for standing in the gap and really just pressing into this. This is not an easy just not easy. This isn't something that just happens. It takes a lot of elbow grease to put something together like this. And so I really appreciate what you guys are doing and bringing to the table. And man, we have all got to be innovative as we move into this next round. We've got to figure new ways to get in front of her. Because unfortunately, a lot of our states, like in my precious state, 80% of our abortions are done by the pill. Those girls aren't coming into pregnancy centers. They're not. And the girls that we're chatting with on the chat line, those girls aren't even calling centers, let alone come to one center, right? This precious generation that God has called us to reach is they're different than what we're used to. And so we have to learn how to love them well, and we got to get innovative, and we've got to be where they're at on their phones. We've got to be there in the instant, in the moment. And then we also just have to study them well and learn what they're thinking so that we can love them well, right? And I love what Connie is doing and what she's developed, and the years of expertise that she has behind that, and putting that into that motivational interviewing and asking good questions. That is what it's about. Like I said, they're very authentic, and we've got to put our heads together and come up with a new plan, right? And of course, the cool thing is God's on our side, and he's going to give us some good intuition and understanding. But boy, Jacob and Sandy, thank you so much for spearheading this. I know I've just been in the background cheerleading them. I'm like, go get them, guys. I'm right here when you need me. But I really appreciate all this energy, and I appreciate the ones that are coming alongside and making this happen, because we got to have, like Jacob said, got to have a couple dozen people to really make this float well. And so thank you for stepping outside of the box, right? Like that's what we need right now, is these innovative out of the box thinkers to jump on board so that we can test it out and see if it works.
Awesome. Thank you, Rachel. So there's one more question that came in, and it was, would it only be nurses you would need to talk with the girls on the chat line? And while we are using, through Infinite Worth, licensed nurses, this process we're not required, according to Connie, my conversations with Connie, we're not required to have licensed nurses field the phone calls. And she was explaining to me that there's a difference between medical and licensed to practice medical. And essentially, as someone who is not medical, is walking someone through these 8 steps by going through the training, there's a couple of layers. One is we're driving traffic to a local pregnancy clinic for someone to go in and have an early ultrasound that is completely medical. But giving someone that advice to go get medical does not require that person to provide, the person providing advice does not have to be medical to say, go visit a medical pregnancy clinic and have that early ultrasound as early as 4 weeks gestation. And then also, we're doing research on volunteers going through what's phrased as community health worker. And this is new. I am not fully educated on everything around community health workers, but that is something that we are doing research on, and it may require 24 hours of training time, which could be done over a few days. But that's my limited understanding of this. Sort of like it's maybe not a lay person, but it's not a licensed medical person. But there are some areas in the middle where we can have training involved, and then there's also, but essentially it's pointing for someone to go see that nurse, that doctor, the MD, the different letters that Connie knows all those different letters. Probably Rachel, I don't know all the letter sets. And so all that to say is we are still working on that part. But our goal is to leverage people who who are not licensed to provide essentially the point on going to where there is someone who is licensed. And that's a major part of this, is to drive traffic to that local pregnancy clinic. So say, for example, you're in Idaho and you're fielding a call from someone in Washington. You may direct them to a pregnancy clinic in that county. And you're part of the solution, even though you're not in that county. And then we're running all of this again through Texas as home base, so that we have legal protections regardless of where the team might be within the system and engine. So hopefully that helps. There's yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to address just really why Infinite Worth has the licensed nurses, and I'm just going to put this out why we're doing it. And there's two reasons, and one is CareNet did a study about 5 years ago, and they asked women who had had abortions, who did they want to talk to before they had that abortion. And it wasn't the abortionist, and it wasn't an options counselor. It was a medical professional, because whether we like it or not today, women today see abortion as healthcare. And so they want to talk to someone. So when they're Googling and they're searching and they're looking for someone to talk to, they want to talk to a medical professional. So having it on the website is huge. And so really what our nurses are doing is they are giving medical information, which they are trained to do. They're trained to give education. And so they're educating to the reason for the appointment, and they're educating this young woman in every aspect, and doing that motivational interviewing and walking her through this and creating a relationship with her that this young girl wants, because she actually, the most trusted profession over the last 30 years is a nurse. So really what we're doing here is we're tapping into that marketability of her being a nurse and being a medical professional, with the goal of getting her into a center face-to-face with, again, a nurse or a medical professional, right? Like Jacob was just saying. So it really goes together. So the cool thing is you can have those community health people answering that phone and walking her through these 8 steps. But there's also going to be a pool for the young woman who's Googling in the middle of the night, who wants to talk to a medical professional right there. And the cool thing is we have the nurses right here where she can talk to 24/7 and within 2 minutes, that nurse is right there with her, walking her through this problem. That's really cool, especially when it comes to how abortion is seen today, right? Like that's so you've got two things. Some people are going to be okay with just talking to that community health organizer. They're going to be drawn to that precious nurse.
And I think the highest percent, our goal is to most people are going to want to gravitate towards SMS as a way of communicating, which will go to the Infinite Worth nurse. And if they prefer to call, then the phone call will say, press 1 to chat with a nurse over SMS, and then it will connect them to that SMS connection. Or press 2 to hold on and speak with, and maybe we'll call it a community health worker. That part's somewhat pending right now. But if they press 2, it will go to those who are available to field a verbal, one-on-one phone call. And then when that volunteer or team member answers the phone, it'll have a whisper message that says call from APT, and then it will connect the phone call to that person. And that person is still able to redirect someone to the Infinite Worth via SMS, because that's going to be part of our scripting. That'll be part of the, they're available. It's still available to send them to that nurse as part of that. Part of our bag of options, or our scripting options, or our tools that we have available. But if that person wants to talk, we're still going to be promoting them to go to a pregnancy medical clinic in their area to get a lab quality pregnancy test, to get a ultrasound. And that's part of this 8-step process, is helping connect them to that helpful Heartbeat International listed clinic, that CareNet listed clinic, that NIFLA member clinic, that clinic who agrees to standards, and more so than being a disconnected player per se. We may not drive traffic to the disconnected ones, but we will be driving traffic to Heartbeat, CareNet, NIFLA, ones that we have identified as being on the same page with 85%+ of what we are an agreement on.
And
Hopefully that
the nurses are going to start with the 500 that we're already partnered with, because we can make an appointment in their, we can make an appointment and their
Yeah.
schedulers right there. And so that's what we're going to gravitate for first. And then we go to the others, but it just depends on their location, right? And where they're at and where we can meet their needs best, right? We want to serve them well. So.
Yeah.
Jacob, there's a question. What are the names of all the organizations involved? So we have Pro-Life Ribbon, Infinite Worth, and Sparrow are the three that are partnering, and then we have the I'm sorry, my brain just went blank. The call line.
CallRail is a vendor. No. HopeSync.
Oh, okay.
So HopeSync's the way Infinite Worth keeps track of the data, the way that where the scripting lives, and that's also where we'll be storing scripting and data based on the interaction, so that we can do reporting from the HopeSync platform, which is under that Heritage House umbrella, along with Infinite Worth.
Okay. And the group that is going to be fielding calls, that's helping us with
H3. So
H3.
yeah, so essentially we'll be having volunteers from different organizations, people who are volunteering and going through the training, along with also H3 Helpline, which is a 24/7 national hotline. And it was primarily built around post-abortive help, but they have branched into reaching out to people before they have when they have an unexpected pregnancy, and they're looking for help when they're seeking an abortion in that space. And so but essentially the goal is to field the phone calls to be fully, to essentially cover, how someone wants to communicate, but a high majority are going to be SMS, and we may even start with SMS only when we first get started, because it will lower the amount of hurdles that we have to take on during that initial launch. Even though I'd like to launch with all features intact, at the same time, I really want to launch, or I think our team really wants to launch and not be held back by having certain requirements that we could put off until a future stage. And that future stage might be months down the road, or, depending on how things play out. But.
And just to add to iRapture, Jacob isn't going to sing his own praises, but as an employee for Jacob and iRapture, he's paid his employees for hours and hours that we've spent on this project trying to get it going. And so iRapture has made a huge contribution as well. So thank you for that, Jacob.
Sure. Awesome. Well, if there's any questions down the road, feel free to reach out via email or give us a call or fill out one of these forms. And I would encourage you, if you're, interested in going forward, we do need at least 12 clinics to sign up, or 12 organizations to sign up, so that we have enough revenue really to launch with. And I would prefer to launch with 21 or more, but I think we could squeak by with as few as 12. But that's really a bit tight when it comes to making it all work. So if you're interested, I would encourage you to sign up. And then, those who help us launch will be identified as founding clinics. Thank you, Sandy. Which will be something that we will remember, that you are helping us get this off the ground, and literally, and it's so exciting to be a part of I think this is going to be the most important project that my company or that my wife and I have ever poured into. I really believe that this is going to be the biggest thing we've ever done. And that's after 25 years of running irapture.com, working on lots of things. I think this is the project that is going to be probably one of the most important things that I've been a part of. All right. Well, thank you so much all for being here. We'll be adding this to our webinar list of things for people to watch, and for those who are considering, they can watch this as well. Yes, thank you all for the kind comments and the notes of prayer and blessing. Thank you so much. Jody, would you close out our I almost said podcast. Would you close out of our webinar with a prayer, Jody?
Before you start, Jody, though,
Oh.
just to remind everybody it'll be the 21st that we'll be having our next topic. So that'll be May 21st will be the next Wednesday webinar for this.
Okay.
Okay.
Awesome. Jody, will you close us out in a prayer?
Okay, yes, I would love to. Dear Father God, I just thank you for all these people. Life is so precious, and we just need you. We need your strong hands to give us the right words and the right strength to get beyond what is happening in our world. It's so satanic. I just thank for all the people that get involved in this, Jesus, and thank you for every day. Amen.
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 Awesome. Thank you, everybody.